Hello, hello, hello. This is Rachel Leo. I am in the process of a name change from Zephyra Ozaya, for those of you that do not know. But this video is about, now I'm just going to leave my glasses on, deal with the glare. This video is about watching tarot. Now, I know myself personally, I was big on watching tarot. I know that there are many readers that I have been promoting on my channel recently, and that's great and fine. But I have also gotten some new information, some new downloads, shall we say, on watching readings, watching too many readings, and being subscribed to too many readers. And so, for what it's worth, here are my views on it. I had been subscribing to several readers, and I had, after discussing this with Source and a friend of mine, she had said, I quit watching tarot years ago because tarot can sometimes be abused. If you watch too much of it, then you end up expecting a certain outcome. You end up hearing what you want to hear from the readers, not what you need to hear. And so I started doing some soul searching and thinking about what she had said. And after thinking about it, I started realizing she was right. That sometimes when we watch tarot, then we get this idea in our head that the outcome that they see is what we think is going to happen for us. We forget that a lot of these readers, they're reading for thousands of people. And sometimes we get the messages wrong. And I know for me personally, I was getting some of my messages wrong. I started expecting certain outcomes, and when I didn't get the outcome that I wanted or I felt I needed, it was starting to cause a lot of anxiety, and it was putting a lot of pressure on me that I was expecting things that weren't happening, and then I was getting upset. So I, in turn, ended up, hang on a second, I need to turn off my notifications here. But I was, and obviously, bingo, what I said that, but I started expecting certain outcomes, and I was wrong. When we start paying more attention to what the readers are saying than what's going on in our lives in the present, that can negatively impact us. So, guys, I'm not telling anybody to stop watching tarot or don't watch tarot, but definitely do be cautious to how much you watch, and be very cautious about the readers that you are watching, because I did find out through personal experience that sometimes readers will, shall we say, pull cards from their deck just because they feel that people don't want to hear what is going to happen further on down the line. We start expecting things to happen right now or in a week or in a month. And when it doesn't happen in a week or a month or a day, then it can cause undue emotional stress. And that's not good, guys. And especially if you find out that some of the readers that you trust are deliberately pulling cards out of their tarot decks because they feel people don't want to hear certain messages. Guys, sometimes we need to hear those messages. It is not up to us to decide what people need to hear. We work for Source, we work for the divine, we work for God. We don't get the option of pulling cards out of the deck just because we choose or we think, oh, well, people don't want to hear this. Well, sometimes that message is exactly what people do need to hear, because these journeys of ours, these spiritual journeys, they ebb and flow, as my friend just popped in and said, that sometimes they go quickly and sometimes they move slower. So it's not our decision what happens when. That is up to the universe. The universe never gives us more than we can handle at any given time. And the universe never tells us what we want to hear. The universe tells us what we need to hear. They tell us what we need to hear. Because I know I tell people all the time, be like, the divine is not going to kiss your ass, and neither am I. Well, if we start pulling cards out of our deck because we feel people don't want to hear it, we are interfering with the nature of things. We are interfering with the universe. We are interfering with God's plan for us. And that's not good. So after I received this information, I did some soul searching, and I ended up unsubscribing from many of the readers that I had been subscribed to, because I felt at that point that maybe I was leaning on tarot too much and not trusting the universe, not trusting God enough to put the proper people in the proper places at the proper time. And I was wrong. And please keep in mind, this is my perspective on this, no one else's, because I'm responsible for my own actions, not yours, not anyone else's. I made the decision to unsubscribe from all these readers and to start surrendering to God and the universe, because the universe has a plan for us, and our choices determine what happens to us. And the universe gives us what we need when we need it. We don't choose that. Our choices determine that. So please, guys, do be careful about how much tarot you watch. It's not a bad thing to get a reading done every once in a while, but make sure whoever you see calls in help beforehand. Make sure that they are, clearing the area, that they are blessing the cards and asking for only positive intent. Let us know what we need to know, not what we want to know. And if you can, then instead of listening to a general reading, do go ahead and get a personalized reading. But do not depend on tarot. Don't look at tarot and let tarot decide what you're going to do with your life. Because then we can get, shall we say, unrealistic expectations of how our life should go or what we should be doing with our lives. I know that recently, the way that I thought my life was going to go is now not. I am a teacher, but at heart, I am a light language artist. I love posting lessons for you guys. I love posting light language for you guys. That is my gift. And guys, sometimes just because, the divine has given us these gifts to use, but just because we have the ability doesn't mean that we need to necessarily use it all the time. Yes, we need to stretch our spiritual muscles and stretch our psychic abilities, but sometimes just because we receive a message from the divine for somebody, we need to be very careful as to whether or not that person needs to hear it or wants to hear it, because we can ruin someone's life because we said something that maybe they weren't ready for, or maybe something that they needed to figure out on their own. I know for me personally, I'm still learning that. And so now I'm choosing my words more carefully. I'm choosing, and I apologize for, we've got some people moving out next door, so the kids are playing and they're trying to move out. But I myself am guilty in the past of giving people information that maybe they didn't want or they didn't fucking need, So do be careful with your words, and do be aware that sometimes people need to learn things on their own. They need to figure it out on their own. They don't need us telling them certain things, guys. So just be cautious and think before you speak. Have a conversation with the universe about it first. Just because we receive a message from the divine, maybe that's a message that we need to keep to ourselves. Maybe that's a lesson for us when to speak up and when to remain silent. As someone else once told me recently, you have to pick your battles, so to speak. You have to pick your battles. So I appreciate all the lessons that I have learned from so many people in the last few days. Thank you, God. Thank you, universe. Thank you to everyone that I have encountered in the last few days that have helped me realize these little epiphanies so that I am able to share them with you. So that being said, I'm going to end this video now. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. May the day find you well. Bright blessings to all. I love you, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.